guys, it's Jessie here. I am back with another video, and in today's video we're going to do the budget for paycheck number 3. So today is Friday when I'm filming this. The plan is to film, edit, and upload this all today, and I actually just sat down and wrote out my budget. It's been a crazy week and I just got around to it. So there's a couple things you're not going to see on here. You won't see groceries because I've already done my grocery shopping. You also won't see gas money because we have been rolling over our gas money or putting our gas money into a sinking fund every single week and not using it. I haven't put gas in my car in 3 weeks, so I decided just to not add it to the grocery or to the budget this week. Sorry you guys, I'm out of practice. I feel like I haven't filmed in forever even though it was just last week. So I have my cash that I've pulled out of the bank already. I sat down and did my cash breakdown and withdrew everything. So I have my cash here ready to go into envelopes. But once again, this week we're not doing a ton with sinking funds. As you can see here, probably just focusing on getting bills paid this week. We had quite a few bills stacked up this week. So just paying bills and taking care of what is necessary. Our income total this week is $15.70. That is after we've purchased groceries. That's what we have left to work with. This includes our paycheck number 3, which my husband received on Tuesday when he got paid. It also includes my YouTube income. I took the amount that I received from YouTube, subtracted 30% to put away for taxes. That cash I actually pulled out of the bank as well, but I've already put that in an envelope. I don't share that total. And then what we rolled over from last week. Like I said, minus the groceries that we purchased. So $15.70 is what we are working with. And we're just going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, lots of bills this week. Our truck and camper payment were technically due last week. I pushed them off to this week. There's a 30 or 60 day grace period with those payments. And it just made more sense with the way that our paycheck was distributed last week. We had quite a bit less income last week based on how much my husband worked. If you guys are not familiar, my husband is paid based on commission. So the more work he does, the more he gets paid. And last week's paycheck was much smaller just because there wasn't a whole lot of work for that week. This week was more typical, back to normal. So we just pushed these couple of payments off and it worked out just fine. We absolutely could have pulled this, the payment for the truck and the camper from our emergency fund and paid it that way. But because of those grace periods, I wasn't concerned about it. I knew that this paycheck was going to be a little bit better, so I just finagled things that way. I do that a lot. That's why I love doing a paycheck budget, just budgeting paycheck to paycheck, because I can finagle things around and make changes week to week depending on what the income is. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I am in my Budget by Paycheck workbook from the Budget Mom. I have the printable version, which I love because I'm able to print the pages that I need, leave out the pages that I don't. There's no waste. And I can punch it and put it in my Happy Planner, which is great because I can move pages around. It's very customizable that way. I like it a lot. I will link down below the workbook that I use, as well as the bank teller slips that I use that are also from the Budget Mom, and everything else that I'm using in this video so that you guys can find it easily. So let's go ahead and get into the budget. So like I said, we have $15.70 to work with, and we are going to start out with our bills. So under the bills category, this week is actually just bills. Typically I also have things like household, gas, groceries, those type of expenses. Essentially anything that comes directly from my checking account. This week though, we just have bills, which is fine. So we have car insurance, which I have budgeted $300. Michigan is ridiculous with their car insurance premiums, you guys. And this is the first month that we are paying for car insurance on, I guess technically it's 4 vehicles. So we have my truck, which is an F-250 Super Duty. We have the car that we just bought Robbie, which is a Saturn Ion. We have my husband's motorcycle, and actually that's separate, so it's 3 vehicles. The motorcycle insurance is a separate line item. So it's just the truck, the Saturn, and then our camper is through there as well. But it's approximately $300. Whenever I do my budgeting, I always round the income total down a little bit and the bills up a little bit, and that way I know that I am covered. So that's that. So that's motorcycle insurance, $300 for the, I'm sorry, you guys, I'm all over the place today. $300 for car insurance, $35 for bike insurance. So we have our motorcycle insured through a different company than the rest of our vehicles because they were able to give us a better deal, a better rate for full coverage on the motorcycle. So that's $35. Lowe's is $105. That is a credit card that we are working on paying off. We put a lot of our, not a lot, some of our kitchen expenses when we redid our kitchen on our Lowe's card. The Lowe's card is good because you get 5% off of everything you buy at Lowe's essentially with that card. But of course, if you carry a balance, you negate that with the interest. We have some credit cards that we use and pay off every single month to take advantage of credit card rewards. And then we have a few credit cards that are carrying balances month to month that we are actively trying to pay off using the debt snowball method. The Lowe's card is one of those. Walmart is $120. Michigan Gas, that is our gas company here, is $40. We are on a budget plan with our gas and electric companies. So we pay the same amount every single month, regardless of how much or how little energy we use. And that way it all evens out. That way we're not paying more in the winter and less in the summer, and it's just a lot easier to budget for when it's the same every month. So $40 for Michigan Gas, $175 for DTE, that's our electric bill. And then we have our truck payment for $300 and our camper payment for $200. So when you add all of that together, we have $1,275 in bills this week. Quite a lot, but like I said, 500 of that was technically bills from last week that we pushed off, so that's bound to happen. So we take that $1,570 that we had at the beginning with our income total, and we subtract $1,275, and that leaves $295, which we can take down to our next category, $295, which is our envelopes. So because we are still in a pandemic, we still aren't doing a ton with cash envelopes. I have absolutely beautiful cash envelopes that have been sitting in my wallet empty for weeks, and it's so sad. Let me show you guys those. These are my cash envelopes that I made myself using divider sheets from an old Happy Planner, and they have just been sitting empty, unable to be used because we're not leaving the house. We are still sheltering in place per our governor's orders, and so we can't go anywhere, can't do anything. It's sad, but it is what it is. Hopefully someday we will get back to normal. Till then, those envelopes will remain empty. The only envelope that we fill these days is my husband's spending. He is considered essential, so he's still working. So he has spending money just so that, you know, he can get by throughout the week when he's not at home, if he wants to pick up lunch or if he needs something from a store or whatever it is. That is that. So our cash envelope total, very simply, $40. We subtract that $40 from the $295 that we had left over after we paid all our bills, and that leaves us with $255. I sincerely hope you guys can see this and it's not washed out. I got new lighting. I got softbox lighting to try to light up my videos better. Previous to this, I was using umbrella lights, but I'm worried you guys might be washed out a little bit. Let me know what you guys think of the lighting of this video down below. Alright, so for sinking funds, we are just going to put away gasoline. The way that we do our gas sinking fund is any gas money that we have left over from the previous week, we put away in an envelope for the inevitable time when we're short on gas money, whether that be in the summertime when we spend more money or when gas prices go back up. So I budgeted $50 for gas last week and we didn't use a penny of it, so it's all going into our sinking fund. Everything else we're just not funding this week. Once we paid our bills, we didn't have a whole lot left, so no sinking funds this week. That's totally fine. The great thing about sinking funds is you can do it any way you want. You can fill them every single week, you can fill them once a month, or you can just fill them when you can, and that's what we do, just as we can. We do what we can. So our sinking fund total is $50. We take that $255 that we had left over after we funded our envelopes and our bills, and we subtract that $50 from it, and that leaves $205 for our next category, which is extra debt. So currently we are using the debt snowball method to pay off debt. However, we're in uncertain times, so rather than take this $112 that we have budgeted for extra debt and just sending it right to the credit card company, we are holding on to it for dear life just in case we need it for an emergency. The last thing we want to do is send every single penny that we have off to various bills and debts and things, and then my husband loses his job because he gets sick. We do have an emergency fund. We have a $1,000 emergency fund, but $1,000 isn't going to go very far if my husband loses his job. So we are also holding on to our snowball money in an envelope. Hopefully we don't have to touch it in an emergency. If we do, then we have it, and if we don't, then we will make one lump sum payment to the credit card we are currently working on once everything is kind of settled down and his job is secure again. So we take the $205 that we had left over after we funded our bills, envelopes, and sinking funds, and we subtract the $112 that we need for our debt snowball, and that leaves us with $93 to go to our final category, which is extra savings. So I am still doing extra savings. I want to hold on to extra money if I can. The same thing with the snowball. If I have to get into this money to help pay bills or buy groceries or whatever it is, then I will. If we can continue to survive and thrive on my husband's income and work continues and everything is copacetic, then this money will just sit in savings to be used at a later time. But I want to continue my budgeting life as much as possible. I want things to continue as normal, if at all possible. So for April savings, we are saving $50. For Savopoly, we're saving $30. It's a total of $80 in extra savings this week. We subtract that $80 from the $93 we had left from funding the bills, the envelopes, the sinking funds, and the extra debt, and that leaves us with a whole $13, which is not a lot, but it's better than nothing, and we are going to roll that $13 over to next week's budget. So now that I have completed the budget, I take the things that I do in cash, which are my husband's spending, the gas, sinking fund, the snowball, and the extra savings, and I figure out the denominations, and I go to the bank and I get the cash, which I've already done. You saw the cash at the beginning of this video. So now I can stuff the cash envelopes, which is the fun part, though there's not a lot of stuffing happening this week, but still, we gotta do what we gotta do. So I have my, let me zoom you guys out here so you can see it. This is your first video watching me. You may not know what this is. This is my accordion folder that I use to keep all of the cash in. So things like our cash envelopes, no, not our cash envelopes. Our cash envelopes get spent week to week, typically when we're not in a pandemic. Our sinking fund money goes in here, as does our extra savings money. And this is just a way for me to organize the cash and separate it. I like to do my sinking funds in cash. It feels more tangible to have cash on hand. And also, if it's not in the bank, it's harder for me to spend it on online shopping or whatever. So that's just how we choose to do it. We keep this locked up in my fireproof safe here at home. When we get above a certain amount of money, we do deposit it in the bank just because I don't want to have extraordinarily large amounts of cash on hand, just because that doesn't seem safe. But this is how I choose to do things. In my envelope, everything is given a category, and then the cash gets put behind that category tab to keep it separate. And I keep track of what's going in and what's coming out on a little index card for each category. So this is how I choose to do it. A lot of people do different cash envelopes, but we had so many categories that this just seemed, I don't know, smarter. Sorry, you guys can see the leg of my tripod. So let me go ahead and zoom you guys back in, and we'll go ahead and stuff our cash envelopes. So the first envelope we have to stuff is my husband's spending money, and it's actually not an envelope at all. I will just give this money to him, and he'll stick it in his wallet. My husband, for the most part, is pretty hands-off with the budget. This is his spending money. I give him his $40 a week, and that's all that he spends, really. If we have things that we need for the family, I take care of that. I'm like the budget queen here in my house, so everything basically goes through me. We decide together. We sit down and discuss large purchases, but otherwise my husband's very hands-off. He doesn't want to know what's going on with the budget. He just wants to go to work and make the money and let me figure out how to spend it. So I take care of paying all the bills. I take care of doing the grocery shopping and whatnot. And if there's something that he needs, he'll tell me, and I will make sure that he gets it. That's just how we choose to do budgeting. I know a lot of people do things different ways, but that's how we do it. It works out great for us. You know, he gets his spending money, his allowance, although we don't call it that. And that's what he spends, and that's it. So works out well for us. So I'm going to give him this $40. He'll stick this in his wallet to be used however he wants. I don't ask him how he spends this money. This is just for him. So if he wants to take this and throw it out the car window and that's what's going to make him happy, then that's what he does, and I don't ask questions about it. Not that he really does that, but you know what I'm saying. So that $40 is for him. I'll set this aside and give that to him once he is home from work. And the rest of this we will stash in our accordion folder. So the first thing that we're going to do is put aside the $50 that we did not use in gas last week. So I go into my accordion folder, which I'm doing off camera here because it's hard to get everything in the shot and still be close enough for you guys to see what I'm doing. So I will go into the gas folder and I'll pull what we have in there so far. And as you can see from the card, maybe you can see if it'll focus. I hope this video hasn't been out of focus this whole time. Oh Lord. Hopefully I don't have to refilm this whole thing. We have $83 in our gas fund currently, and we're going to add another $50. So today's date, or the date of the paycheck, is April 21st, and we're adding $50. So that should mean we have $133 in here, if my math is correct. So let's go ahead and count this. I always like to count it every week just to make sure I have what I think I'm supposed to have and we're not short anywhere. So we have 50, 100, 120, 130, 31, 32, 33. $133 in our gas fund, and that's wonderful. Love it when a plan comes together. Okay. Next we have our debt snowball. This is going to go really quick this week because we just don't have a ton going on this week. So currently in my debt snowball category we have $336. We're going to add another $112, and like I said, this money is just going to sit here until we are back to business as usual around here, or as close to usual as we can be, you know. Whenever I feel confident that my husband's job is secure again, we will go ahead and send this money to the credit card that we are currently working on. Till then, it'll just sit here and continue to build up. So I added my 112 in there. Should have 448. So we're going to count this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. All right, I either missed a 10 or I added wrong. Let's try this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 30. Yeah, 438 or 448. So what did I do wrong? Did I not add a 10? I'm not really sure what I did, so let's continue. I'm going to set this debt snowball off to the side. I'm wondering if I didn't add a 10 from my stack of cash here. So I'm going to set this aside for now, and if I have 10 left over at the end of this, then I'll know that that's what I missed. Because I definitely should have 448 in there, and I only have 438. So there's $10 missing somehow, some way. All right, so for April savings, we have $50. And I keep my April savings in a little envelope that I got from the Budget Mom. Looks like this. It's my April envelope. And my April savings, I determine how much I put into April savings based on the 2020 Savings Challenge course from the Budget Mom. It's a paid course that you can take, and she gives a ton of ideas on how to save money, different methods of saving, which are fun. They're just like savings challenges, fun ways to save money. I have that link down below. And we're going to add $50 this week. I actually am not following the savings challenges for April from the Budget Mom because none of them really applied to my life. So instead I've just decided to save $50 every week this month, which is totally fine. So we're going to put this $50 in here with the other 50s, and we have a total of 150, so that's accurate. So I'm going to stick this back in the envelope and put the envelope behind our monthly savings challenge tab. And you can see I have January, February, and March in there as well. So we'll just stick those back in there. And our last category is Savopoly. And Savopoly is a fun printable money saving challenge. It's sort of like Monopoly. The page that you print out looks just like a Monopoly board, only instead of only on the actual properties there are numbers listed, and that is the amount that you save when you land on that property. So my little index card here is pretty full, so I'm going to pull out a new one. I just keep the index cards in the back of my little accordion folder, and we'll do Savopoly. I just label it on the top, and then we will continue. So I had 115 in there on 414, so I will write that. And we're going to add $30 today. So that should be 145 in Savopoly. So we're going to add a 20 and a 10, and look there, I do have a 10 left over, and that means that I did short myself when I was going and adding money to my debt snowball envelope. So we will address that once I've finished this, but Savopoly should have 145, so I'm going to stick these denominations where they belong here in the stack. And we'll count it up and make sure there's 145. 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. All right. So So that's accurate. We'll stick that back behind the Savopoly tab. And then we will add this final $10 because I have reached the end of all of my envelopes here, so I know that this $10 does belong in this debt snowball envelope. I must have just been talking to you guys and neglected to put it in when I counted out my 112 for this week. So now it should have 448. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 30, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now that's accurate. And that right there is the reason why I count this money every single week, because that is the best way to make sure I haven't made a mistake. I'm not the best at math. I'm not the best at counting money, clearly. So I always want to double and triple check my amounts to make sure that everything is as it should be. So that was all of my envelopes. I'm going to go ahead and close up my folder here. This will go back in my safe. Let's zoom you guys out. This will go back in my safe. This cash will go to my husband. And that is the budget done for the week. So, let me zoom you guys out even more. You'll be able to see the leg of my tripod, but that's all right. So that is it for my budget video this week. It's very short again. I am hoping that soon we will be able to get back to business as usual, and I will be able to, you know, pay this extra debt money to the credit cards and get back to funding my sinking funds like I do every week and just have everything go back to normal. I can go back to our full amount of cash envelopes. I am so looking forward to that day. We're not there yet. Our governor here in Michigan just extended our stay-home order again. I have a feeling that they're going to extend this stay-home order for 2 weeks every time all summer long, and we're just never going to get back to normal. It feels that way, but hopefully soon. I hope you are all safe and healthy and well. I'm thinking of all of you. Hopefully you are managing your money in this time of crisis. We still have had no word on our stimulus check. We do qualify for the stimulus that the government set out, but we have not received that, and there's no date so far on when we will. Luckily, we are not in a position where we are desperate for that. We are still able to pay all of our bills since my husband's working. If we were in a different circumstance, I might be upset that this money is not here, but it'll get here eventually. You know, the worst case scenario is that we don't get a check and we get it when we file our taxes next year. So it's coming eventually. I just don't know when. But whenever I do receive that, you guys will see how I plan on making use of that money as well in my budget. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know about the lighting. Again, I apologize if it's washed out. I still need to work on the settings and stuff, but I do love my new lighting. I think it's gonna overall help my videos once I can figure out how to use them properly. But thank you guys again. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Make sure you subscribe because I do budget videos every single week. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!